So, what do you do after you've told your fiance that she's not the best lay you've ever had? Hi there, men's dating coach Harry Wilmington here, founder of introvertdatingsuccess.com. And today I'll be answering a Reddit question I found from a guy who went through a little situation. His wife, his soon-to-be wife rather, asked him if she was the best that he ever had in bed, and he was honest with her. And now he wants to know what he should do to get out of it. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon to be notified of future daily videos. Also, be sure to go to the website to download my free ebook, Texting Like a Boss, as well as hitting on the tip jar tab to show your support by clicking the link at the website and down below in the description. Let's go ahead and get into it. So I wanted to answer this guy's question because this is an example of a situation where a guy said too much and he ended up giving a wrong answer. But it's also a case of a situation where this guy's thinking he's really in the doghouse and in trouble. But if he plays it smart, he can actually get the kind of love life and sex life out of this that he always dreamed of. So let's go ahead and get into the question. So it goes like this. He says, I've been with my fiance for 4 years. She has loved my life, and I want nothing more than her happiness. We have a fine sex life. In all honesty, sex with her is okay. It's not bad at all. I enjoy it, but I wouldn't say sex with her is great. Since I gave her a ring, her sex drive has shot way up. She is always in the mood for a little lovemaking. However, she's a little bit more insecure about sex and her beautiful body. I compliment her so much, and I think I initiate sex and am vocal about enjoying it enough to ease her concerns. So let me just say, that's a good thing. So many women are insecure about their body. So if you're able to look at her and touch her unapologetically in a way that shows that you absolutely love it, you're not disgusted by anything at all, then that can help a woman's self-esteem and make her want to do it more. Now, that doesn't always work because ultimately it's a woman's responsibility to get herself to a place where she feels comfortable about that stuff, and some women never get there. But for you being a guy, kudos for you doing that, okay? You want to make sure that you're always speaking positivity into your partner's life, whether it's about her job, about her lifestyle, about her body. Always try to keep it positive because you say one negative thing, as you'll soon learn, and women will keep that in their head for life. You could have said 1,000 things right, but that one thing is going to be the thing she's going to constantly come back to for years to come. Continuing on. He says, so last week we had just made love and I was holding her. She was still kind of wavy and she muttered out, that was the best sex of my life. I assumed she had just said what she said to boost my ego, so I teased her about it when she woke up. Okay, so let me pause here, okay? And this is a mistake that guys make, is that guys are very literal. So when you hear your woman say, oh, that was the best I ever had, you start thinking logically, really out of all the partners she's had, am I really the best? Or what's the calculation? What's the scale? How is she mapping this out? And women aren't really thinking about it like that. For them, they're going to spit out stuff based on the emotion that they're feeling at the moment. So in that moment, after having made love to him, and then the fact that she's his fiance, and then she's feeling all these feelings and the oxytocin's running, in that moment, her truth is that this current session is the best thing that I've ever had because of the feeling that I'm having right now. Now, you might make love to her a few days from now, and that will now be the best thing she's ever had sexually. But again, you can't be literal with women all the time because they're moving off of emotion. They're saying things and feeling things off of their emotions. So you can't get into your analytical mind and start trying to put together math numbers on a comment that is being made from an emotional being. Okay? Continuing on, he says, she was really embarrassed that I teased her. She said she doesn't rank her lovers, but she was a little upset I didn't believe her. I told her I didn't care if she had better sex because she's not screwing with those guys anymore. Then she got very upset. Well, of course she did, because again, she wasn't being literal, but you are. Continuing, she asked me if I felt the same way about her. Here we go. I told her I enjoy sex with her, and that's all that matters. Ooh. She then asked me if she was my best. I told her I refused to answer that question, and she said that meant no. I then tried to explain to her that I don't care that she's not my best, and that if having the best sex of my life was the most important thing in my relationships, I'd still be with a manipulative, alcoholic married woman in her 40s. Okay, so this is not the best response, and here's why, is because again, she's feeling things and saying things and hoping that the emotion is going to carry it. So she's not thinking about this in the same way he is. But the problem arises when, she's asking this question now, am I the best? Now, we always hear, women want complete honesty in relationships. This is one of those situations, though, where, again, her version of honesty is, in this moment, I feel this thing, therefore this is my truth. But also in that moment, she's wanting to, when she's asking that question, she's wanting to hear an honesty that says, oh, you also feel in this moment that this is the best situation, at least based on what the moment is dictating, okay? She's not realizing you're going to come from the analytical side of like, well, I've had like 17 partners, and of the 17, you're like number 5, so you're not the best. Like, they're not trying to hear that either. They don't want to hear that in realities, so that's not a really good answer to give in that moment in time, because that's not really why she's asking the question. You have to understand, guys, that when women ask you certain questions, they're not necessarily looking for the most logical truth. They're looking for a feeling of what the truth is for that situation. Now, does that mean you should lie? Absolutely not. But it does mean if you're going to say something like this, you might want to be prepared for whatever the reaction is you're going to get. Because saying something like, well, you're not the absolute best, and whatever, that there are ways you can put that out there that will be easy for her to digest than the way this guy said it. Okay, because now it looks like he's trying to backpedal and lie about it and all whatever, and that ends up being worse than even saying what the true truth is. Okay, continuing on, he says, she cried. I tried to reiterate that it wasn't a big deal. She was still mad and told me to leave her alone. After she stopped crying, she said she was over it and it really wasn't that important. But she's still weird about sex and won't let me talk to her about it. She'll ask if she's, quote, tight enough, wants to try out new positions that she's obviously doesn't like, tries to behave like a porn star in bed, which turns me completely off. I don't know why she's this upset about something as little as sex. What can I do to help her feel like she's used to it? I mean, what can I do to help her feel like she's used to? So first of all, you got to understand, guy, for women, sex is a very emotional experience, but it's also, just being 100% honest, it's where they get their ego boost. Our ego boost comes from being able to actually get the girl to agree to do this act with us. Their ego boost comes from them knowing that of all the girls that are out there, she's the one giving you this experience, and she's the one that's going to be able to make you have an orgasm, and is going to be able to give you the experience of your life. And that's how they get their ego boost. So when they find out that you're maybe not orgasming as strong, or that she's not doing the top 10 performances that you have in your sex catalog, yeah, that's going to bother her because she wants to be that person. That's going to drive her ego. That's going to allow her to feel like she is a woman that knows the womanly things to do to your body to make you be excited about her, okay? So and also, by the way, just guys in general, never express to women that what they are feeling or thinking about is not a big deal, because they don't want to be delegitimized in their thoughts the same way that you don't want to be delegitimized in your feelings. When women say, what are you feeling? And you finally are able to admit a feeling that you're having, you don't want them to come back and say, well, that's not a real thing. Well, that's not a feeling. Well, you shouldn't feel that. So that's how they feel when you say, well, you're making a big deal out of this. It's no big deal. Yeah, to her, it's a big deal. And if it's not a big deal to you, if you're not recognizing that it's a big deal to her and you're not making a big deal for yourself because you're in a relationship, that's going to be a huge problem, okay? So, but understand, guy, if you look at what she did, he said the thing, she got her feelings hurt for a little bit, she went and cried, and came back, and now she's trying to do everything that she can to get this guy to orgasm land and be in the top 10. And this is what bad guys and jerks do very well, is they'll just say some stuff that's off the cuff, except they won't apologize for it. This guy's trying to apologize and is trying to rationalize and try to give her facts about why this isn't such a big deal. But bad guys and jerks don't really care. They're just kind of like, I'm going to say what I say, and if you don't like it, then tough, deal with it. But you notice what this girl's doing is she's still trying to now get his attention. So what that means is that this is motivating her to do this thing. And also, there was a level of him coming out with that truth that she kind of respected. Because otherwise, she wouldn't now be trying to do all these things and flip back and forth and do these various positions if, in fact, she didn't want to try to get into his good graces in terms of the pleasure that he's having during sex. So kudos to her, actually, for wanting and being open to doing things that is going to hopefully get him off better than it was before, okay? So, but this is where you can use a situation like this to your advantage, okay? And not in a mean way, not in a way where you're gonna like manipulate her, but in a sense that one of the things he said was that she doesn't really like to talk about sex. And this is a lot of women. A lot of women come from those households where they didn't talk about sex a lot. They got shamed for even having a sexual thought. And so, yeah, when women get to relationships later on, it might be hard for them to want to say sexual parts or sexual acts or sexual positions. And that can be a hard thing for us guys because we're very much like, I mean, I'm ready to talk about everything I want to do in bed, but the girl doesn't. And that can be a problem. So now that she is in a situation where she's trying to please him, this is where you can start to bring that kind of thing into a relationship where you can sit with her and say, hey, so, I don't want to bring up old stuff, but I know I had mentioned that that in terms of our sexual life, like you weren't necessarily the best per se. And then you can say, but part of the reason for that is because with my previous girlfriends, I was able to have open conversations about sex. And so because we had open conversations, both her and I were able to express what we liked sexually and then do those things. And it made it a lot better. And then he can say, and I'd really like to have that kind of relationship with you because ultimately I would like you to be my best. And I also want to give my best to you in that bedroom realm, but we got to talk about it. I need to know, we need to be able to say what kind of positions we like and don't like. We need to be able to say what kind of things really turn us on, what our fantasies are. And if I can't do that with you, babe, then we're never going to get there. And don't you want to get there, babe? Now that puts it in her court. Now that lets her know that, hey, I'm open to you being the best and I want to help you out, but the only way that's going to happen is through open communication. And that doesn't mean she's going to want to right away start coming out with like every single thing she does, but it could be like one thing at a time. Something as simple as like you get a book and say, hey, let's just go through this book and just find like two things we want to try out. Or we can talk about like a couple of things that we really like, and then we can work on doing those things in bed to the best of our ability. But this is going to open up their ability to be able to converse about it, because imagine if this hadn't happened, then that wouldn't happen. And now that it has happened, this is now where most guys fail, where they want to just keep over explaining for days about how she's wrong and how she needs to think about this from his perspective, versus using this as a means to be able to actually transform their sexual relationship into something that's going to be more enjoyable for both of them. Okay. So this guy, he's already in a position where his girl's already trying to try out new stuff on him. Now just take it a level deeper and do it at a level where it's like, hey, you know what? I don't need you to necessarily try out these things that you don't like, because I want you to enjoy this as well. So if you want to occasionally do those things on your own accord, that's cool, because I do like them, but we can figure out a way to make those more comfortable for you, or we can find alternative things that both of us will like to have done on me and on you as well, okay? But use these kind of situations to your advantage to enhance your relationship and not try to fight back and ultimately have the girl not trust you and want to lose attraction for you altogether. Now that you've heard from me, I'd like to hear from you. Have you ever told a girl you're dating she wasn't the best girl you had in bed? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to comment down below or write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. Are you ready to learn killer icebreakers that attract women on dating apps? Go to introvertdatingsuccess.com right now to check out my free video training, How to Get Attractive, Feminine, Emotionally Stable Women Dying to Respond to Your First Messages on Dating Apps Without Using Sleazy Pickup Lines, which will give you the key secrets to sparking attraction and conversations with women online the smart way. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment, and check out new episodes 7 days a week right here on YouTube or wherever podcasts can be found. In the meantime, be sure to check out these other episodes so that you too can learn how to date as your authentic introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.